I know you're interested in learning more about resistant starch.
Yeah,
And it seems like a kind of technical term,
right.
but it's actually super relevant to how you feel every single day.
Absolutely.
So before we jump into the research, let's just quickly define what resistant starch is.
Sure. So resistant starch is a type of starch that, well, resists digestion in the small intestine.
Okay.
So it actually acts a lot like fiber in that way.
Yeah.
And instead of being broken down and absorbed, it goes down to the large intestine where it ferments and provides food for all those beneficial bacteria that live there.
So it's kind of like feeding the good guys in our gut.
Exactly. Precisely.
I like it.
And the study we're looking at today really focuses on how resistant starch impacts not just weight loss, but also the types of bacteria that thrive in the gut.
Okay.
And the results are, well, they're pretty compelling.
Give us the rundown on this study. Like, what do they do?
Okay, so they took 26 overweight or obese individuals,
Okay.
and after a week of eating similar foods, kind of to get everyone on the same page.
Oh, okay, like a run-in period.
Exactly, a run-in period.
Yeah.
They divided them randomly into two groups. One group got a supplement of resistant starch, and the other group got regular starch
Okay.
as a control.
Got it.
Now, importantly, both groups continued with their usual diet and activity levels for the 4 weeks of the study.
So no extreme diets or crazy workout routines. They just added the resistant starch to their everyday life.
Yeah, exactly. They wanted to see what the isolated effect of resistant starch itself was.
Okay.
And what they found was that the group that consumed the resistant starch lost an average of 4 pounds over those 4 weeks.
Wow, that's pretty significant considering they didn't change anything else about their lifestyle.
Exactly.
4 pounds in a month just from adding resistant starch. That's impressive.
It is pretty impressive, but there's more to the story than just the number on the scale.
Right. So tell me about it. What else is going on?
So the weight loss itself is great, but what's even more interesting is how it happened.
Okay.
And this is where those changes in gut bacteria come in.
Okay, so tell me about this like gut transformation. What happened in there?
All right, so researchers found a significant increase in Ruminococcus bromii
Okay.
and Eubacterium rectale.
Okay.
These are two types of bacteria that play a crucial role in breaking down carbohydrates and producing short-chain fatty acids, like butyrate.
Butyrate. Now that rings a bell. Isn't it good for something?
Yeah, butyrate is very good. It's like a superhero for your gut.
Okay.
So it helps improve insulin sensitivity, which means your body can regulate blood sugar better.
Okay.
And that can lead to reduced fat storage. Plus, it strengthens the gut lining, reducing inflammation, and it's even been linked to a reduced risk of colon cancer.
Wow. So not just losing weight, but all these other metabolic benefits as well.
Absolutely. It's like a 2-for-1 deal.
I like it.
It gets even better, though, because the study also found that the resistant starch group actually increased their energy expenditure after meals.
Wait, really?
Yeah, meaning they were burning more calories even while at rest.
So they're losing weight and burning more calories without changing their exercise routine. That sounds almost too good to be true. What's going on there?
Well, that's the power of the gut microbiome. By changing the composition of bacteria in your gut, you can actually change how your body processes food and uses energy.
It's wild.
It is. It's a fascinating area of research that's opening up a whole new world of possibilities for weight management and overall health.
This is mind-blowing stuff. So I bet our listeners are now wondering, like, where can I get my hands on this resistant starch? So let's get down to, like, the practical stuff here. What foods are we talking about here?
So you might be surprised to learn that some of your favorite starchy foods can actually become excellent sources of resistant starch.
Okay.
It's all about how you prepare them.
Wait, hold on. Are you telling me I don't have to give up pasta and potatoes? Because that would be a deal breaker for me.
Not at all. Cooked and cooled rice, potatoes, and yes, even pasta are fantastic sources of resistant starch.
Really?
Yeah.
So, like, what's the magic trick here?
It's much simpler than that. The key is to let them cool down after cooking.
Really? So cooling them down changes something.
It does, yeah. It all comes down to the starch's structure. So when you cook starches, you're essentially breaking them down, making them easier to digest. But when you let them cool, some of that starch recrystallizes into a form that resists digestion in the small intestine.
Okay.
Hence the name resistant starch.
It's like a simple kitchen hack to unlock this weight loss and gut health potential.
Yes.
I can cook a big batch of rice or potatoes on Sunday, let them cool, and then I'm set for the week.
That's a great strategy. And don't forget about other excellent sources of resistant starch, like green bananas, legumes like lentils and beans, and even oats.
But what about portion sizes?
Mm-hmm.
Can I just load up my plate with cold pasta and expect to see results?
Well, like with any healthy eating approach, moderation is key. It's about incorporating resistant starch as part of a balanced diet, not necessarily making it the star of the show at every meal.
But are there any foods that actually lose resistant starch when you cook them?
That's a great question. Oats are a good source of resistant starch, but they lose some of it when you cook them.
Okay.
However, there's an easy fix: overnight oats.
Oh, overnight oats. Okay, so
Yeah.
tell me more about that, especially for busy mornings.
Yeah, it's super simple. You soak uncooked oats in milk or yogurt overnight,
Okay.
and the resistant starch levels stay high. Plus, you can add all kinds of toppings, fruit nuts, a little drizzle of honey.
So delicious and convenient.
Yeah,
I'm going to try that.
you should.
But are there any other ways we can add resistant starch to our diet? Are there any other tips or tricks?
Absolutely. Well, one simple thing is adding lentils to
Okay.
your salads or soups.
Oh, I love lentils.
Yeah.
They're so hearty and flavorful. Are there other benefits? You mentioned the blood sugar burn.
Yeah, so resistant starch can also reduce inflammation in the gut.
Okay.
And chronic inflammation is linked to a whole host of health problems, from obesity and heart disease to autoimmune disorders.
So by reducing inflammation, it's kind of working on a deeper level to improve overall health and well-being.
Precisely. And it's not just about physical health.
Oh, really?
There's growing evidence suggesting a strong connection between gut health and mental health.
Wait, so my gut health can affect my mood?
Yeah, so there's this fascinating field of research called the gut-brain axis that's exploring this connection. Emerging evidence suggests that the bacteria in our gut can actually communicate with our brain, influencing our mood, cognition, and even behavior.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we started with weight loss, and now we're talking about the gut-brain connection.
That's right.
It seems like resistant starch is much more than just a weight loss tool.
It really is.
It's like a key player in overall health and well-being.
Absolutely. That's the beauty of it. It's a simple dietary change with a ripple effect that touches many aspects of your health.
I love that.
Yeah.
So for our listeners who are ready to jump on the resistant starch bandwagon, where should they start? What are your top tips for incorporating it into their diet?
Well, I would say start by experimenting with those cooked and cooled starches.
Okay.
You can easily add cooled rice or potatoes to salads, make overnight oats with chilled cooked oats, or simply enjoy a cold pasta salad.
What about, you mentioned green bananas and legumes.
Oh, yeah. So green bananas, you can slice those up and add them to smoothies. Legumes are incredibly versatile. You can add them to soups, stews, salads, or even make delicious dips like hummus.
Mm-hmm. So many delicious possibilities.
Right.
I'm already feeling inspired to get creative in the kitchen.
That's great.
It's great, yeah. So much good stuff. But I do have one question. I feel like this is something that could come up.
Sure.
What about if you reheat those starches?
Oh, yeah. That's a great question.
Does that change anything? Does it
Yeah.
undo all the resistant starch goodness?
Reheating does decrease the resistant starch content somewhat,
Okay.
but it doesn't eliminate it completely, so you'll still get some of those benefits.
Oh, okay. So it's not like an all or nothing thing.
No, not at all. Like, even
Well,
if you reheat your leftovers, you're still going to get a good amount of resistant starch.
Okay. So it's worth it no matter how you enjoy it, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. So I think we've covered a lot about the what and the why of resistant starch,
Yeah, we have.
but I think it's time to get to the how.
Yeah, let's do it.
So for our listeners who are listening to all this and thinking, okay, I want to try this. How do I make this work in my everyday life? What are your top tips for incorporating resistant starch into a busy schedule?
So I always say, start small. Don't feel like you have to completely overhaul your diet overnight.
Okay.
Choose 1 or 2 meals a week where you can easily swap in a resistant starch option.
Okay, so what are some examples?
So for breakfast, you can try overnight oats, like we mentioned before.
Yeah.
That's an easy one to prep ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
For lunch, you could do a cold potato salad or lentil salad.
Easy.
Yeah, and for dinner, you can just make a bigger batch of rice or potatoes and then have leftovers.
Perfect. Make it once and then eat it again.
Exactly. And you can get creative with how you use those leftovers. You can add them to soups, stews, stir fries. There are really endless possibilities.
Okay. So I like all those tips. Start small, swap
Yeah.
in 1 meal a week, work your way up. Are there any common pitfalls they should be aware of?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think one common pitfall is going overboard too quickly.
Okay.
Like suddenly eating a ton of resistant starch all at once,
Okay.
because that can sometimes lead to digestive discomfort, like bloating and gas.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's important to start slowly.
Yeah.
Gradually increase your intake and give your body time to adjust.
Okay.
Another pitfall is relying solely on resistant starch for weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've talked about.
Yeah.
It's a great tool,
Yeah.
but it's not a magic bullet.
Right.
It's important to incorporate it into a healthy lifestyle that includes a balanced diet, regular exercise, and stress management.
Yeah, it's all about the big picture.
Exactly. It's not just about one single food or nutrient.
It's about making sustainable changes that you can stick with long term.
Exactly.
I like that. So slow and steady wins the race with resistant starch.
Absolutely. And don't forget to drink lots of water throughout the day.
Yeah.
Water helps that fiber move through your system and prevents any unwanted side effects.
Water is key,
It is.
especially when we're upping our fiber.
Yes.
So we've covered the benefits, the sources, even some practical tips.
Yeah.
What stands out to you the most about resistant starch?
I think it's fascinating how it changes how we think about food and nutrition.
Okay.
We tend to focus on what we eat,
Yeah.
but how we prepare our food can actually have a huge impact on its nutritional value.
So we're kind of unlocking a hidden dimension of healthy eating.
Exactly. We're not just passive consumers. We have the power to transform our food and boost its benefits.
I love that. And what's the takeaway message here? What can they do starting today to reap the benefits?
I encourage everyone to view this as an invitation to experiment in the kitchen.
Yes. Become a culinary scientist.
Exactly.
Explore the world of resistant starch.
Yes, start by incorporating those cooked and cooled starches into your meals.
Okay.
Pay attention to how your body feels. Do you have more energy?
Mm-hmm.
Are your cravings more manageable?
Right.
Is your digestion improving?
So it's all about tuning in to those subtle signals our bodies are sending us. I like that. And remember, this isn't about restriction or deprivation.
No.
It's about adding in nutrient-rich foods that support your gut health and, in turn, your overall well-being. You can still enjoy those starchy foods you love, just with a little twist in the preparation.
That's right.
I love it. This has been such an insightful deep dive. It's amazing how much we're learning about the gut microbiome and its impact on our health. It feels like a whole new frontier in nutrition science.
It really is. And the more we learn, the more we realize just how interconnected everything is, right? Our gut health influences our weight, our metabolism, our immunity, even our mental state.
So true.
It's really powerful. It's a reminder that taking care of our gut is an investment in our overall health and well-being.
So I think we've given our listeners a lot to chew on today, so to speak.
We have.
But before we wrap up, I want to touch on one more thing that I think is really important.
Sure.
We've talked about all the benefits of resistant starch,
Mm-hmm.
but like with any dietary change, it's always a good idea to talk to your doctor,
Absolutely.
especially if you have any underlying health conditions or if you're taking any medications.
Yeah, because resistant starch can interact with certain medications.
Right.
And it's always best to err on the side of caution and get personalized advice from your healthcare provider.
I think that's such an important point
Yeah,
because what works for one person might not work for another.
exactly.
And we always want to prioritize safety and individual needs. Couldn't have said it better myself. So to our listener, we encourage you to embrace the power of resistant starch.
Yeah.
Experiment in the kitchen, listen to your body, and see how this simple change can transform your health journey.
Absolutely.
Until next time, happy eating.